Welcome to Cook with Joy. I'm Joy Kelly, and this is the 4th season of my cooking show, Cook with Joy. I hope it's becoming your favorite cooking show. It sure is mine.
It's always been my favorite cooking show.
I know, that's because you love to eat. This season, we've really been focusing on some healthful tips, but we've also been focusing on food that you can share with other people. We're in May right now when we're shooting this. I have no idea when you're going to be watching it, but chances are, any time of the year, you're always interested in food that you can bring and share with others, whether you're just trying to share healthful options, or if you're like me and you want to bring something to the party that you feel okay about eating. So today, we're going to make an enchilada casserole. Sounds decadent, doesn't it?
Sounds complicated.
It is complicated. You watched me get prepped for it, but it is delicious. It's really good for you, full of lots of veggies that are good for you, and really is a crowd pleaser. Let's get started. So I have a pot going with about 2 tablespoons of water in the bottom. Now you might think, well, you should use oil when you're going to saute vegetables, but you actually don't have to. You can use broth or water to do that, and I'm going to use water today. I'm adding 2 cups of chopped yellow onion, and as those get going, I'm going to chop up a red bell pepper to add to it. I could have used a green bell pepper. My husband doesn't like green bell peppers, but he does like red bell peppers. Derek, do you know what the difference is between a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper?
The color.
Very good. But why is a red bell pepper red and a green bell pepper is green?
It's got different phytonutrients in it.
No. Try again.
Vitamin D.
Nope.
Chlorophyll.
Nope.
I don't know.
The red bell pepper is simply ripe. That's all it is. So it's going to be more nutrient dense because it's been on the plant longer, chances are.
So red's really better for you anyway.
Well, I like the flavor, and also it's going to be full of lycopene, which especially for men and prostate health, it's really, really good. So we're going to chop up this red pepper, and we're going to add it to the pan. And it's not quite so important how fine you get this chopped up, because a little secret to this recipe is that a lot of it is going to get blended in the Vitamix, which is, I think, a really interesting way to do it.
Did you leave all the seeds in there?
I did not. I took them out ahead of time. And you could have left the seeds. It wouldn't hurt you. It's just really an aesthetic thing. Let's add that to the pan as well. And we're going to let this saute for a few minutes while I chop up the garlic and some of the other things that we're going to add to the pot.
You love garlic.
I do. Well, everyone should love garlic and onions. When I first started cooking a plant-based diet, I was like, I don't even know what to eat. But what I realized was that if I added enough onion and garlic, just about anything tasted good. So that really became kind of my go-to. We're going to mince this garlic. Some people like to use a press. I like to keep it a little bit bigger because I think it just keeps the nutrients more intact. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like the way it tastes. And that's what I do. Now, a lot of people will buy minced garlic at the store. I don't recommend that. Who knows how long it's been sitting there. Who knows how long, how much nutrition is still left in the garlic by the time you get it. And there is a lot of nutritional value in garlic. I'm going to mince this up pretty finely. The recipe calls for dried oregano and dried basil. But for me, I want to add fresh. And whenever you're adding fresh herbs to a mixture, you want to do it closer to the end so you don't cook the heck out of them. If I was using dried, I could put them in now. We're going to add the garlic to the mixture now. I'm going to add that. And we're going to add some chili powder. And when you buy spices, it is important that you are discerning about where you're getting them from. I know there are a lot of off stores that sell different spices, and you don't know how old they are because there are a lot of nutritional properties in spices. So I spend just a little bit more and get a higher quality spice.
I noticed you very precisely measured the chili powder.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I'm so glad you pick up on all those things. I think I'm going to add a little bit of oregano to it as well. That's dried, and we'll add some fresh stuff later. Is that all right with you, Derek?
Looks good.
Okay. Just add a little bit of that. Whenever you make a casserole like this, it's kind of fun. You can just really play around with the flavors. You don't have to follow the recipe exactly. The only time you really have to worry about a recipe being followed exactly is if you're going to bake something or you need something to rise. Then it's important that it be baked a certain amount of time. Here's the fun part. We're going to add fresh chard out of my garden. Yes, my aeroponic growing system. I have chard all winter long, and we're going to add this. I had this all year long, really. And we're also going to add fresh zucchini. And this is really going to add a big nutritional punch. Chard is full of so many nutrient properties. It's good to either juice it or to cook it. However, eating it raw, it has a lot of oxalates in it, and it can be difficult for you to actually digest. So we're gonna cook this into the casserole, and then all of it is going to get blended a little bit in the Vitamix. Okay, let's add that to the pot. Yum, yum, yum. So what I really love about soup is that they're really delivery systems for veggies. You can get so many different vegetables into a pot like this. And of course, this isn't a soup, but we're starting out in kind of a soup-like fashion. Next, we're going to take the chard, and I'm going to take the stems out of them. The recipe doesn't call for me to do that, but I think that it would be pretty rough if I didn't. And I'm going to chop that up and add it to the pot as well. Starting to lose my voice, Derek. Is that all me yelling at you? And I'm starting to sound like Rachel Ray, which isn't a bad thing.
Kind of a sexy voice.
Kind of a sexy voice.
Some people smoke to get that voice. All you do is work 48 hours a day.
How did Ingrid Bergman get that voice? She
Smoking.
had that. Really?
Yeah.
Was she a smoker?
I don't know.
You don't know, you're just making this up?
Sounds good, though. If you say it with confidence, it's almost true.
I know it is. Isn't that funny? I like the saying, 75% of statistics are made up on the spot. Have you heard that before?
I think you said that to me yesterday, actually.
Did I say that to you yesterday? It's very possible.
So what you're saying is I'm full of it 75% of the time, 3/4 of the time?
No.
Yes.
Not you. Not you. Got all that chard chopped up. And then we're going to add some canned tomatoes, canned corn, and canned beans.
So why canned?
Well, just because it's easier. You know, sure, could I have done this myself? I could have. But we're going to add half a can of this my husband got too big of a can of tomato sauce, so I'm getting half a can of that, and we'll just stir that up a little bit. It's a BPA-free lined can, so it's better for you if you're going to use canned stuff to choose that. Also, I look for low sodium content when I'm getting canned foods. There's no reason for them to put lots of sodium in them. We're also going to use canned or frozen corn, either one, about a cup. And I like to add more because I like corn a lot.
I noticed you took a handful of the corn out when you opened the can.
Did you see that?
Yep.
And then I'm going to add 15 ounces of the black beans to the whole mixture. So I'm adding that all and mixing it all together. And now that it's getting kind of nice and mixed, I'm going to add that fresh basil and oregano that we talked about. And now that we're getting to the end of this cooking cycle, I'm going to add the fresh basil and the oregano, remembering that when you add fresh herbs, you want to add those more towards the end of cooking something so that they don't get bitter. Oh, poor little basil plant. So we're going to chop those up really nicely. And the other thing that we're going to add to this, which I think is kind of interesting, I've made this dish once before, and I really liked it a lot. It was a big hit, and it fed a lot of people, so I liked that. But what's interesting is it has you put corn tortillas into the actual mixture as well as on top, as well as a garnish. And I think that the reason that they have you do that is to get the casserole to be a little thicker without having to actually use cheese. Because usually if you have a casserole like this, there's a lot of cheese in it that's making it stick together. And because we don't have that, the corn tortillas will serve that purpose. Now when you're looking for corn tortillas, all you really want them to have in them is corn, lime, and water, and sea salt. That's it. I'm going to add these spices now, these herbs, to the pot. Add those. Yum, yum, yum. And let's take out, oh, I got some more basil. I don't want to waste any of that yummy basil. So we're going to add 3 corn tortillas. And these tortillas only have water, corn, salt, and lime in them. And we're going to cut them into 1-inch pieces. Cut them into 1-inch pieces and add them to the pot. Such an interesting idea. Have you had a casserole like this before?
Never.
Do you like Mexican food?
I love Mexican food, as long as it's not too spicy, because as we talked about, I'm kind of a wimp.
You kind of are a wimp. So I didn't put any jalapenos in this. I thought about it, and if it was just for my family, I probably would, but I did not.
You didn't sneak them in while I wasn't looking?
I didn't. I was very good. All right, so now that we've let this simmer for a little while, we're going to take a cup of this mixture and put it into the Vitamix so we get it really blended and add it back to the mixture. Now you have to be careful with this because the mixture is going to be really hot. Here we go. I'm kind of scared. It's okay. Okay, I'll take a little bit more than a cup. All right, I'm going to turn that down a little bit, and then let's turn it on and cross our fingers and hope for the best. And that's why I like a Vitamix. Really got it smooth, and I'm going to add that back to the pot. Interesting to almost being...
Say it again, turn that, turned it?
Turn it from being really brightly colored to almost being completely green, which is very interesting. I wonder what that's going to make it look like.
So what's the philosophy of why to put it through the Vitamix? Why blend it?
Because they want part of it to be smooth. So part of it's going to be chunky and part of it's going to be smooth. And when we get it into the oven, it'll be as if we'd added some cheese to it. That's my philosophy about it. That's my guess about it. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now we're going to spoon it into a casserole, and then we're going to put more chopped tortillas on top. So hold on one second. So we're going to put it into a 9x13 casserole dish, and the recipe says that we don't have to oil it. So I'm not going to. I'm kind of curious about that, but we'll see how it works out if I don't burn myself first. Yikes.
Don't make it going to the emergency room with Joy.
No, that would not be good. We're just going to smooth it out to the edges. Looks pretty pretty, don't you think?
Really good, yeah. I like the colors a lot.
Yeah.
Which means it's got lots of nutrients in it.
That's right. You're learning so much, Derek. Pretty soon, I should do an episode with you cooking, and I'll do the camera work.
Ooh.
That probably wouldn't turn out
Which
very
one
well.
would be worse, the camera work or the cooking?
Probably the camera work, because you've been getting practice on the cooking.
That's true.
And I have not been getting any practice with the camera work. All right, so I'm going to get that last little bit into it. I don't want to miss anything. And then we're just going to garnish it with some cut up pieces of more corn tortillas. Put it into the oven at 375 and let it bake for 15 minutes. Yum, yum, yum. That looks beautiful.
It seems a little bit different than traditional enchiladas where you roll it up, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely different. So there's no cheese. We're not rolling them, but we're still getting the corn tortillas into them, so it's still got the flavors. And I did have this last summer, and I really liked it a lot. It's why a lot of times I will make a dish on this show that I haven't made before, but I have made this one before. So we're just going to sprinkle those over the top.
Will they get crispy in the oven?
Yeah, and it's almost like making a Mexican lasagna, don't you think?
Looks like it. Except without the layers.
Well, but it kind of layers inside, like there's so many different things in here with it. I mean, I could have maybe put the chard leaves. That would have been kind of interesting. We could do that another time, make a Mexican lasagna. Let's throw that in the oven for 15 minutes. Yum. So it's bubbling, and the tortillas are crunchy and crispy, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It's going to take 5 minutes to cool down, Derek, so you can't eat this until it's cool.
Come on.
But it's going to be delicious. I would serve this as an entree with a side green salad, and I think it would be fantastic. I mean, I'd serve this anywhere. I'd take this to a fancy party, and I think it's awesome. That's a wrap for this episode of Cook with Joy. I hope you're enjoying this season, and I look forward to seeing you on one of our future episodes.
Is it cool enough yet?
Not yet. 5 minutes, Derek. 5 minutes.